So a thrilling finish at the Emirates as Arsenal rescued a very late point. It's been a bit of a stuttering start to the season for Manchester City. They've taken 7 points from the 15 available.
We were incredibly tired. So sometimes the people don't realize. So the game against Napoli Champions League was so emotional. And after that recovery day, and they ask you have to wait 4 or 5 hours, because maybe you don't know, you live in London, you have that privilege, but the people who live in the northeast, so we have 4 or 5 hours to arrive into London, and it's more fatigue and everything. So, and guys, it's a team like they fought the last 2 Premier Leagues to win it, and the right semi-final Champions League, and not just Man City invest money, they did it as well, and it's so tough. So. I could not expect differently, but we were there. We talk about you have to be so strong in terms of mentality. We have done it.
So in the end, I know you said before the game, schedule's not an issue. In the end, the schedule was an issue for you today. It's fair question, no?
You are the journalist, my friend. You understand my process and what happened. Don't understand me. 10 years we are together, so. Honestly, so of course, the fact the mindset has to be strong, but we have a lot, fatigue with the same players. We have, how many injuries. John came back for the injury for the national team for a long time. We have Cherky, we have Rainuri, we have Nathan had been out as well all the time. So we have to put a lot of players maybe forget that the rhythm. Kusanov was injured with this kind of positions with the pace that he has. We don't have it. So many things can happen. But if you want to bring it, the fact that now I'm complaining for the schedule, that's okay. I'm complaining for the schedule. Are you satisfied?
No.
Okay.
If you're talking about fatigue in schedules, we're in September and they're on the back of 2 home matches. And the United game, they were fairly comfortable beating United eventually. Napoli had a man sent off after 20 minutes. They've played 2 home matches. They've not travelled from Russia or Poland when you've had a tough away game.
Or the northeast.
Yeah, he actually lives in the northwest. Yeah. Pep forgot that for a second, yeah. But they've come down to London.
You two both say it in Spanish.
So I just think if Pep's getting that message out in September about the matches, but we all know the challenge has been a footballer is being robust and playing 2 or 3 games a week. And we look at their players on the bench there and the option. I'm sure there must be other managers in the Premiership looking at Pep thinking, Pep, if you think you've got problems with schedules and the strength in depth, my goodness. So I kind of didn't like that angle Pep was coming from. The whole point of sitting deeper and trying to play under counter, that is fine. I love teams doing that. But the problem is City didn't have that get out. They didn't have that swagger that they had a number of years ago. And you mentioned players like De Bruyne. Of course, they haven't got that quality this moment in time. But I still think City, both teams will come away with something. City did show a bit of fighting spirit. They dug at it. And another minute or 2, they would have got the job done. And then you give Arsenal credit because they stuck at it, they persevered, and they showed real quality. So we were lucky to see 2 brilliant goals, really. Brilliant goals, counter-attack and then the ball over the top. So I think both managers will be fairly pleased. But I'm not really having Pep talking about fatigue and the schedules. We're into September again on the back of 2 home matches, and they've travelled on to London. Pep's a big boy. I'm sure they can deal with that.
If it was to be Manchester City, for instance, we've talked about how they're looking more resilient than last season. That's a positive. And also Erling Haaland looks like he is back to his very best form. I mean, that's something that they can take from that so far, Manchester City.
Yeah, and I've said it on here before. It's just the demeanour looks different. Erling looks like he's enjoying his football. Perhaps it's the style. They're playing a little bit more direct into him. His hold-up play's got a little bit better. This is just incredible. I mean, he just wants a foot race. If you're a defender, you don't want a foot race with that man. And the first touch is brilliant, and he never looked like he was going to miss. He went through in the second half like that, and I felt he would score as well. It was on his left side, more favoured side. Muted celebration there, but I love the way he is at the moment. He's playing with a smile on his face. His numbers are incredible. And he needs to continue to be the main man. I think he's enjoying that there's not really another option for him. If he's not Erling, there's no one else.
Because Marmoush isn't really an out-and-out striker.
No, he plays in and around there.
He might have been injured as well.
Alvarez is gone now, so I remember the times when they used to bring him off after 60, 70 minutes and then give him an opportunity. There's not that opportunity there for him now. I think he's come off in the game. I was disappointed he'd come off. He maybe have a niggle. He said he asked to come off. He said he was exhausted, or I read that, but whether that's true or not.
Because I think Gary Neville was commentating, and he said he was surprised about that as well. But if he said he was tired, I guess that.
Well, it was almost the perfect game plan from Pep Guardiola, but it was a tactic we're not accustomed to seeing. City had the lowest average possession of any match under Guardiola's reign at just 32.8%. That's the lowest ever by a Pep Guardiola team in his managerial career. The second lowest came against the same opponents, Arsenal, back in 2023. Well, Gary Neville said he enjoyed seeing a new approach from City.
It was unusual because, I always remember going back to Pep Guardiola's first season in England, and it wasn't a successful season, if you remember. They didn't win the league in that first season, and he said that the reason that they would concede, I remember a couple of games that I watched, and let's say they were winning 2-1 and then they conceded late on. He said it wasn't because they didn't have the physicality, it was because they didn't keep the ball well enough. And then beyond that, for the last 6, 7, 8 years, we've just seen them dominate possession. I really enjoyed watching Manchester City in that last 20, 25 minutes because it was unusual, and I never thought I'd see it whilst Pep Guardiola was here. And they should have seen it out. There was a real concentration and focus, and they just had one little loose moment.